Good day. I am cutting up fruit and I want to talk to you about astrology because I am the astrology queen nerd. And I am a believer because many reasons, but it existed before a lot of organized religions, patriarchal religions, if you will. And it's also very scientific. So I'm going to go through some of the basics because a lot of my people know that I love astrology and I get a lot of questions about the basics like, well, what does that mean? And what does this mean? And I'm like, well, it means something different for everyone. And that is not really a helpful thing to say. And I know this, but I've been studying this since I was like 12. And I would sit at the lunch table in school and I would ask people when their birthday was and I would tell them their sign and I would tell them about themselves. So yeah, this is my shit pretty much. I'm gonna cut up some fruit, starting with this pineapple. And since we're starting with fruit and pineapple, we're gonna start with earth signs. Earth in astrology consists of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Earth signs are very connected to their senses and their everyday life. Comfort, their home, pleasure, work, being stable, consistency, and their routines. These are some highlights of my earth people. You know, the most popular are your big three. So let's say you have a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn rising or moon. That would affect your everyday life. I would also say it's pretty important if you have a Venus as an earth sign because that is definitely going to affect your appearance, who you date, and your senses. And this is going to be brief. This is a brief basics video, right? So there's a lot more to everything I'm talking about here. Let's go into air next. So air signs, that is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are connected to social communication, writing, talking, poetry, drawing, singing, expression. They need to have a connection with their community. They have this drive to have connection, whether that be through blogging, texting, FaceTiming. I know some Aquarius people who will sit the fuck on FaceTime. And I know a lot of Aquarius people actually who are very skilled drawers and artists. Libras, they find a lot of importance surrounding community, communication, socializing, and they're known stereotypically for being gossipers. And also Geminis, you know, they have a reputation for flipping the script on people. That's going to have a lot to do with the fact that air people can play many parts and play many roles, but you never really... If they don't know who they are authentically without trying to people please, you will never know them and they will flip on you. So it's not just Geminis, that's just air people in general. They have a way of, I say we because I'm a Libra rising, of making everyone feel important. So they might make you feel super important to them one day and then the next day they could forget, unless they have some type of grounding force like an earth sign working with that, because they'll just forget. They can kind of be airheads, literally air. I also would say habits, bad habits for air people would be smoking. And I say that as a Libra rising. Smoking was my vice. Now it's lighting incense. I always have something burning in my house, candles. I just like to see smoke circulate and percolating. I need air movement in my house. I have like white curtains at my windows underneath my big curtains that I close because during the day I need my window to be open even if it's hot as fuck outside, because I need air movement, airflow from outdoors with the curtain so I can see the movement. What a tangent. Water signs. This is connected to feminine energy, water, the ocean, nurturing, emotions, creativity, depth. That would be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So like I said, water signs are stereotyped for being emotional. That is not a bad thing. They have sensitivity to other people's energy and the ability to pick up on it pretty easily. They also can adopt other people's energy, especially if you're a water moon. I am a water moon. I have a Pisces moon. Dreams, you have crazy ass dreams. Water people have crazy dreams, usually like prophetic dreams. You know when some shit's about to happen because you heard it in a dream. You saw it in a dream. Very emotional people, meaning not that they're crybabies or anything like that. It's more so that they need to be connected to their emotions if they're going to be a healthy, functioning adult person. If you're a Cancer and you're like, and I get this a lot from Cancer people, like underdeveloped Cancer people, I'm not like a crybaby, I'm not like emotional. Well, being disconnected from your emotions doesn't mean you're not an emotional person. Disconnecting from your emotional, like access to your emotions, does not mean that you are not emotional or sensitive. I'm gonna just leave that where it is, okay? Because I know I just hurt some feelings with that one. See? You're emotional. You're sensitive, yeah? And now for my fire signs. I know that y'all were sitting there like, what about me? That would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire people are fiery people. They're initiators. They are expanders. Think of fire when it's mixed with earth, right? Very productive. If you mix fire with wood, you can cook on it, you can survive on it. It can warm your home. It could warm you while you're outside freezing to death. It can help you cook your foods that you just hunted if you're in your hunting and gathering era. Warrior energy for my Aries people. I would say lots of people-pleasing energy from my Leos. There's a lot of stereotypes about fire people needing a lot of attention. And that's not a lie. People that are fire people need attention, but it's more so like validation. And if they feel comfortable around you, they can expand, they can grow when they feel safe. So if you mix fire with water, it kind of gets suppressed or put out. We're gonna call the water in this situation like rejection or feeling rejected emotionally. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting into this aspect of fire, but yeah, it just came up. So somebody needed to hear that. Fire people are very creative, can be spontaneous, can also just need an outlet for fiery energy. So intense workouts, time in the sun, time having fun. When it's not a developed stage of a fire sign, fun can look like being addicted to partying or creating chaos. The lighter aspect of that is like zip lining, skydiving, going for a swim, like I said, intense workouts, fun stuff like that, wholesome fun. Fire people actually really like to connect with others. They have a lot of depth. I would say more so like Aries and Sag have some emotional depth. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so it's the baby, it's the I, it's the ego. They came into this world, Aries placements, to learn that the world doesn't revolve around them a little bit. They represent the ego, so whatever their conditioning was in childhood is to be unlearned as an Aries person. I'd also go as far to say all cardinal signs, which would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Those are our cardinal signs. Those are the natural leaders of each. So it's one of each sign. So one, earth, air, fire, water. That's our natural leaders. They kind of initiate energy in their family systems, in their friend groups, in society. Now, our fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Fixed signs are not against change, but they really hesitate to initiate action. Where a Capricorn, an Aries, a Libra, they're like, oh God, I feel the chaos of change coming. It's time to surrender. We do that pretty easily. Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio people will literally flip shit and like go through an intense grieving phase to exit where they currently are. And it's really hard for them to understand that they don't have to dive so deep into the loss because something new is coming. Like they go into the like, but what am I gonna lose? But bitch, what are you gonna gain? You need some cardinal signs in your life, okay? Then mutable signs. That's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Mutable signs, they can shift, but they can also have that double-sided energy when they are not developed. That wishy-washy, flaky energy that we really hope to outgrow as we learn how to have healthy boundaries with people so that we can assert our needs and have them met. Mutable signs, I would say, can be very creative, and they have a spiritual gift to probably be like one of the clairs, clairaudient, clairvoyant, whatever, one of the clairs. They be knowing. If they tap into it and they don't reject it, because mutable signs can also be kind of opinionated on the low, because like I said, they're very wishy-washy. So like in your face, they'll be like, yeah, my favorite color is pink. I'm a baddie. And then they go home and they're like, or they're with, okay, they can kind of be pick-me's. Don't hate me for that. But they can kind of be pick-me because then they'll go to their group of homeboys and be like, nah, my favorite color is blue. Pick me. Pick me. Very people-pleasing energy when it's underdeveloped. So yeah, that's some of the basics. We had earth, air, fire, water signs. We had cardinal, fixed, and mutable signs. And that's just gonna be this first video on the basics of astrology. I am not sponsored, but I would recommend a website called astrotheme.com. I know that not everybody uses that website, but it's the one that I use to do readings. I also do birth chart readings. If you want me to go beyond the basics, I do it in a pretty nice way. I will send you a note, like an app, like on your iPhone. And if you don't have an iPhone, I'll just email it to you. But I want you to be able to go back into your own chart and reread it at different points in your life, because you're always going to see something else in your chart. Like I said, I've been studying this shit for 14 years at least. And like, I still, to this day, it's unreal. Every time I look at my chart, I find something else. I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. And I'm like, oh my God, I would have never gotten this 5 years ago because I hadn't gone through that experience yet. I hadn't evolved enough to see that in myself yet. So yeah, I do birth chart readings. If you are curious about your own chart and you don't want to pay somebody else to give you a reading, you can go on astrotheme.com and put your birth information in. It's hard to read. I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard to read, but they have like a click to get to know that placement. My only thing with that is that the writers are kind of one-sided. When I do readings, always give the light and shadow aspects of every sign. There is no good or bad signs or experiences. So yeah, that's what I would look out for if you're just going to use the website. If you made it this far, drop an emoji of your sign or your element, earth, air, fire, water. And if you want a reading with me, find me on Instagram, DM me, or email me. And all my information will be in the description. And if you didn't subscribe yet, subscribe, because I have a lot of content that is sporadic and random, and I'm pretty fucking cool. I know a lot of different shit, and that's what my YouTube is for, is sharing all the different shit that I know. All right, bye.